right, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Laura Taylor. I'm the Associate Professor of Theology and President of the Theta of Minnesota chapter of the Phi Beta Kappa here at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. I'm delighted to be here with all of you today for our 2024 induction ceremony. I'd like to begin our ceremony with our land acknowledgement. The College of St. Benedict and St. John's University occupy the original homelands of the Dakota and Anishinaabe peoples. We honor, respect, and acknowledge the indigenous peoples forcibly removed from this territory, whose connection remains today. St. Benedict's Monastery and St. John's Abbey previously operated boarding schools for Native children. Now, students, faculty, and staff are working to repair relationships with our Native Nation neighbors. As the president of the Theta of Minnesota chapter of Phi Beta Kappa, it is a particular pleasure for me to greet and welcome as our guests the family and friends of our new members. Joining me today and welcoming each of you is our distinguished platform party, the president of the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University, Dr. Brian Brees, Dr. Corey Gross, Associate Professor of Environmental Studies and our keynote speaker for the ceremony, Dr. Ellie Perlman, Associate Professor of History and our chapter's Vice President, Dr. Derek Moore, Visiting Assistant Professor of Nursing and our chapter's historian, Dr. Clark Cotton, Associate Professor of Biology and our chapter's Secretary-Treasurer, as well as several of our faculty and staff who are resident members of Phi Beta Kappa. As you will learn throughout our ceremony today, Phi Beta Kappa is rich in its history, tradition, and symbolism. Because this is an academic honor society, it is a tradition for faculty and staff to wear academic regalia at the ceremony, which explains our attire today. We wear these robes as a sign of recognition, achievement, and honor, but also as a sign of respect for you, our inductees, and for all of your accomplishments during your time here at St. Ben's and St. John's. We will begin our ceremony today with a welcome from the president of the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University, Dr. Brian Brees.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Welcome to this beautiful ceremony, this gorgeous day where the sun always shines on St. Ben's and St. John's. Isn't it fabulous? As I came into the entryway, I was commenting to some of the students that there was this sort of intellectual power. You could feel it gathering in this room. And one of the students said, "Can you see the glow?" Yes, we can see the glow. So welcome, family and students. So to students, parents, grandparents, and all family members. St. Ben's and St. John's, faculty and staff, and Phi Beta Kappa resident members, thank you all for being here and joining us in this excitement, this fellowship for this tremendous celebration. On behalf of the College of St. Benedict St. John's University, it's my deep privilege to welcome you to this important gathering. Phi Beta Kappa is the nation's oldest academic honor society and was the first college society to bear a Greek letter name. The initials Phi Beta Kappa represent the Greek translation of the society's motto: love of learning is the guide of life. And under that motto, the society stands as one of the nation's oldest champions of the liberal arts, a cause to which we at St. Ben's and St. John's are deeply committed and rooted. The students who have been selected for induction tonight are worthy. They glow. We know that thanks to their diligent work of our selection committee, who I'd like to honor and recognize right now, in addition to reviewing the transcripts of many outstanding candidates, they also look not only for excellent grades, but for the breadth of coursework in the liberal arts and outstanding academic achievements and activities that most often do not show up on a transcript. Know that this Phi Beta Kappa selection process is rigorous. These students have earned this recognition. And there are only 286 chapters at college universities throughout the United States. Only about 1% of each year's American college graduates are elected to membership. Students, as new members, you are in distinguished company. Congratulations, inductees, And thank you all for being here to mark this important moment. Thank you and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, President Brees. A little shorter, so I gotta put the microphone down. Honored guests, today we are welcoming 44 new student candidates for membership and course into our Phi Beta Kappa chapter, 35 seniors and 9 juniors. These students, candidates, have qualified for election and now wish to be admitted into our Academic Honor Society. We shall welcome them into an association with all those who have been members of Phi Beta Kappa, past and present, and into lifelong membership into the society. While our St. Ben's and St. John's chapter was founded only 14 years ago, this is a ceremony that goes back nearly 250 years to the time of the founding of our nation. Our chapter historian, Dr. Derek Moore, will now explain some of the history of Phi Beta Kappa Society so that you can better understand the values and mission of the society today.
There's a nice picture. Thank you. On December 5th, 1776, a group of students at the then all-male College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, met to create a secret society, Phi Beta Kappa, that was both intellectual and social in purpose. The 3 original stated aims of the society were friendship, morality, and literature or scholarship. Their president's greeting to new members in 1779 reads in part, "Here you are to indulge in matters of speculation, that freedom of inquiry, that ever dispels the clouds of falsehood by the radiant sunshine of truth." And there is actually the first meeting, which is Raleigh Tavern, which is now a museum in Colonial Williamsburg and an overpriced bakery, if you ask me. Still good food. Other Phi Beta Kappa chapters were soon established at Yale and Harvard, and the society continued to grow and improve. In 1875, for example, Phi Beta Kappa enlarged its membership to include women. By 1883, the society had more than 25 chapters, and the United Chapters of Phi Beta Kappa was founded to bring the scattered chapters into some uniformity. The organization has its headquarters in Washington, D.C., and there are now 293 chapters at leading colleges and universities throughout the United States. Phi Beta Kappa takes great pride in its origins, but we believe that the society is even more vital and relevant today than it was at our founding in 1776. You are now a part of our storied history, and you are the key to the society's future as we emphasize the ideals of freedom, of expression and civil discourse, and advocate now more than ever for the values of the liberal arts and sciences. These values were eloquently summarized in the following statements by one of the society's most eminent members, Charles Heaven Hughes, the late Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. The particular interest of Phi Beta Kappa is in liberal education. Intensive critical study of educational aims and methods has found nothing to take its place. Phi Beta Kappa holds aloft the old banner of scholarship, and to the students who have turned aside from the easier paths and by their talent and fidelity have proved themselves to be worthy. It gives the fitting recognition of a special distinction.
Thank you, Derek. Represented by a signature gold key and 3 Greek letters, Phi Beta Kappa offers a credential that has national recognition. Membership affirms our motto, love of learning is the guide of life. We'll now ask our initiates to first make a promise and then to be formally welcomed in as new members of Theta of Minnesota, chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. Will the student candidates for membership and course please rise? In accordance with the rules of this chapter, and in consequence of our good opinion of your intellectual character, supported by your record of high achievements at these institutions, you have been selected as worthy of becoming members of the Phi Beta Kappa Academic Honor Society. Your names have been submitted to the scrutiny of the constitutional electors of this chapter and have met with their approval. Your presence here today signifies your desire to become members of the Honorable Society. Therefore, I now inquire, do you solemnly promise that you will uphold the Society's values of intellectual curiosity, critical thinking, and freedom of expression, and seek to reflect credit upon your affiliation with this venerable fellowship of learners? You can answer, we do. We do. Wonderful, thank you. Each of you has pledged to uphold the values of Phi Beta Kappa, and we will now welcome you into our ranks and register you as a member. You can sit down. Since Phi Beta Kappa was once a secret society, we also have a secret handshake. The tradition goes back centuries. When two members would pass each other on the street, they would take these two fingers, so hold up your second and third finger, and draw them across their mouths to say that their lips were sealed. Now, when two members meet, it's those same two fingers clasped, and that is the secret handshake. You extend your first two fingers of your right hand and keep your other two fingers slightly curled. Then as you shake hands, you grip the first two fingers of the other person's hand with your third and fourth fingers. Another way to think of this is dividing your fingers into a V, or the live long and prosper sign from Star Trek, and then folding your last two fingers over my first two fingers. Though the grip fell out of favor in the earliest 20th century, there's been a resurgence of interest in it recently. So you can all try it out with me during the welcome into the chapter, but you're also welcome to do a traditional handshake on stage if you prefer. And now, would the first row of initiates rise to approach the stage? As our secretary, Dr. Clark Cotton, calls your name, please come forward to be greeted into the chapter and also to sign the register. All right, so we'll get it set up. Okay, we're ready. You got it.
All right, let's do this. Ian Odlin. Sydney Ondal, Thomas Allen, Sophia Anderson. Maria Beck. Logan Beeran, Frank Doyle. Tiana Ellis. Ethan Eng. Lauren Funky. Jacob Gotchi, Akoya Gibson. Jacob Goranson, Carter Grove. Elizabeth Hammock, Thomas Hobday. Sarah Hoppy. Ryan M. Stanislav Yank. Amelia Callhammer. Claire Corey. Thomas Libby. Emma Lundgren. Aaron Martin, Alexis Martinez Mia, Evan Matson. Jackson May, Sarah Mayu. Thomas Meyer. Haley Mersch. Emily Munt. Jacob Odenthal. Grace Potter. Carter Pothoff, Michaela Santiago. Victoria Schwieters. Tulane Seeley. Caitlin Shaw. Scott Spangler. Savannah Supan. Ryan Thyssen. Connor Veldman. Clara Winter. Genevieve Woods.
By election of the chapter, by your assent to its pledge, and by the placing of your signature in our registration book, the Society's requirements for initiation are fully satisfied. In the presence of these members of the Society, as well as your friends, mentors, and family gathered here today, It is now my pleasure to officially welcome you as new members of Phi Beta Kappa. Congratulations.
Each year, our student members in course who were elected last year as juniors select the keynote speaker for our induction ceremony. Our chosen speaker this year is Associate Professor of Environmental Studies, Dr. Corey Gross. I now invite Dr. Gross to share her address titled, Building the World We Need, Diversity, Hope, and Pleasure.
Thank you very much. I am a scholar of social movements, of efforts for radical social change. How do we build the world we want to see? This is a question for every era, but in today's world of climate crisis, which is connected to and exacerbates all other crises, the question appears at every scale, from our smallest actions and choices to how we run global economies, to cultural practices, norms, and values. The liberal arts prepare us to do good work toward building another world. Why? As we see in nature, the strongest systems are those that are diverse. The healthiest forests, prairies, and lakes. But it is not only nature that thrives on diversity. Societies do as well. It starts when we are young. I've been hanging out with a few people under 4 years old lately, and they thrive on diversity. Whether a new person, rock, stick, toy, or place, they learn new skills for interacting, new preferences they couldn't have known they hold, new joys. As we grow older, again, we gain so much from encountering and being in relationship with people of different backgrounds than our own. Culture is beautiful and special because it is distinct, rooted in different places, brimming with different smells and tastes, colors and art. To be able to experience many cultures is a gift. In the college setting, we are exposed to different ways of knowing, lenses for understanding the big questions of our time. And at St. Ben's and St. John's, you are encouraged to explore many lenses. What happens when you think about chemical reactions in soil as the scale for building a better world, as a natural scientist might? What happens when you connect your personal troubles to broader social issues, your challenges in college to systematic barriers to higher education, as a sociologist might? What happens when you learn many histories and consider how lessons of the past inform our present, as a historian might? Or how colors and forms of clay and glaze can move a person to think about things in a new light, to make the revolution irresistible? This is the role of the artist, Tony Cade Bambara tells us. Or maybe you are working with ones and zeros, with clouds, to harness the wonders of technology, as a computer scientist or mathematician might. There's an argument for exploring these many lenses purely for the intellectual joy of it. But that's not enough. Exploring these lenses to develop broad skills, or at the least, to gain a sense of appreciation for what they can offer, is critical to meeting the world's challenges, with a chance of addressing them, not just in the quickest or easiest way, but in a way that is just and equitable, a way that is sustainable, that may make a good life for all of our relatives and our descendants, maybe even 7 generations from now. We face wicked problems, which means they are complex. They cannot be alleviated or solved without multiple approaches, multiple ways of knowing, working together, filling in each other's blind spots, leveraging each other's strengths. Problem solvers in different institutions are recognizing this. Last fall, the National Science Foundation, for example, funded a new center for braiding Indigenous knowledges and science. Federal agencies are now required to recognize and include Indigenous knowledge in federal research, policy, and decision-making. As the White House defines it, quote, Indigenous knowledge is a body of observations, oral and written knowledge, innovation, practices, and beliefs developed by tribes and Indigenous peoples through interaction and experience with the environment, end quote. Until recently, it was not considered valid knowledge because the people in power who decided what knowledge was and what solutions should be were invested in maintaining power structures built on colonialism, heteropatriarchy, and racism, either in their actions or in their lack of action. Now, in a time when we are seeing more, though not nearly enough, diversity of people in power, Indigenous knowledges are becoming more broadly recognized as expert knowledge that is needed to address the climate crisis. Indigenous knowledges are tremendously diverse because they are rooted in Indigenous cultures, themselves rooted in the land. These knowledges often weave together observations of the natural world, oral storytelling, spiritual practices, and social customs. The liberal arts are, in many ways, an effort to practice this kind of weaving. And what an exciting time to be alive as a person with your training. As NDN Collective, an Indigenous organization in what is now called South Dakota, dedicated to defending, developing, and decolonizing, asks, what if the best times are ahead of us? What if the best times are ahead of us? This question should be at the forefront of our minds. It pushes us to choose hope, and not the kind of hope that gives you a pass to sit idly. It pushes us to choose the kind of hope that forces us to do the work. Hope that, as Rebecca Solnit writes, quote, you earn through study, through resisting despair, and through digging tunnels, cutting windows, opening doors, or finding the people who do those things, end quote. She reminds us that we don't know how our work will turn out, or who or what it may impact. The point is, it's the right thing to do. So I choose hope, and I encourage you to do the same. Once you do, once you choose to think that the best times are ahead of us, you can get to work. You can let that vision guide you. How to do the work, though? What work to do, you may ask, especially on this cusp of nearing or finishing the end of college, a time when everyone asks, what are your plans? You may, like a lot of people, not yet know what you want to be when you grow up. You may think you know, for now. You may have many different careers planned for your life. According to my strengths test, I was supposed to be a baker, and I still may be. Adrienne Marie Brown offers us an answer to the how question that I find captivating. Pleasure. Do what gives you pleasure, she writes. What will increase your aliveness, your connection to others, your joy? Quote, how would we organize and move our communities if we shifted to focus on what we long for and love, rather than what we are negatively reacting to? Could we make justice and liberation the most pleasurable collective experience we could have? End quote. As you gather here, young people who have demonstrated excellence in the liberal arts, I encourage you to make a commitment to bring pleasure into your life as a priority, if it is not already. You are going to need pleasure, not only to effectively marshal diverse lenses of the liberal arts to solve wicked problems, but also to live in a good way, in a way that brings you into relation with your neighbors, with the more than human world, and with yourself. You are going to need pleasure to realize your dreams, to live in a way where you wake up with purpose and with the energy to light up your life and the lives of those you encounter. Try not to let the capitalist values of efficiency, speed, and profits drive your work. Consider what actually gives you pleasure. It is more efficient to go to the pool. No sunscreen, no sand to clean off, no pokey rocks under your feet. But I bet many of you would choose these inefficiencies for a chance to take in the pleasure of the beach and Lake Sag, to feel the fish nibbling your toes. It may be faster to avoid conversation with the person making your coffee or the librarian scanning your book. But might it be more pleasurable to meet another person in your community, to build a relationship, to make a new friend? I urge you, especially if you are an introvert like me, be bold. Take the time to make conversations, to build more relationships. They are what will bring us through the crises we face. Research even shows that small talk and casual connections, things like borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbor, create happy communities and less lonely people. Social connection, being part of organizations and communities, is critical for a healthy democracy. And let's ditch profit and pursue instead a world where everyone has enough. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world? Let's think in terms of sufficiency instead of more, abundance instead of scarcity, non-monetary forms of value. As many of your professors will tell you, loving the work you do, doing something you think is meaningful, has a lot of value. Part of aligning life with pleasure, engaging in pleasure activism, as Adrienne Marie Brown calls it, quote, is about learning what it means to be satisfiable, to generate from within and between us, an abundance from which we can all have enough, end quote. So embrace the diverse skills and lenses of analysis you have cultivated, the diverse friends and relationships you have built. Channel them through a pursuit of pleasure and joy, imagination and play, rewarding work, to make the world more beautiful, more just, more equitable. We are all privileged to be here together in this beautiful, stable place, with, for the most part, our basic needs met. Let us take pleasure in that. Let us celebrate your hard work. Let us add in a bit more pleasure to our lives, to drop everything and dance often, as I try to do whenever my kid requests it. Let us lean on each other on the path ahead. You all give me a lot of hope. The kind of hope where I'm excited to be next to you, doing the work of creating the world we need. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Corey. To our newest chapter members, you now belong to the nation's oldest academic honor society, whose past members have included 17 US presidents, 42 Supreme Court justices, and over 150 Nobel laureates. Your membership in Phi Beta Kappa will open a door to a network of successful individuals in nearly every career field, and this accomplishment will set you apart to future graduate school programs and employers. Support the Society's endeavors and goals, and be dedicated advocates for the liberal arts in our society. Once you're settled after graduation, check to see if there's a Phi Beta Kappa Community Alumni Association nearby. We here at St. Ben's and St. John's and the Theta of Minnesota chapter hope you will stay connected to us as well. Let us know about your adventures, challenges, pleasures, and successes as you move out into the wider world. Before we conclude our ceremony, I have a few announcements. First, there's a reception following the ceremony just over on the other side of the room there, which you are all invited to attend. Second, after we process out, we'll take a group photo of our new inductees, and then we'll reconvene for the reception. So after you process out, we'll probably do it kind of out in the atrium over there. Third, please help me thank all those who made our event possible today, including our student musicians, the student videographer and photographer, and the event staff at St. Ben's led by Adrian Zeller, though they're busy preparing back. So when you see them, when they come back in, we can thank them. So let us conclude this ceremony with observations from William Cronin, author of the 1998 essay, Only Connect. My students will recognize this one. Liberal education is built on these values. It aspires to nurture the growth of human talent in the service of human freedom. Education for human freedom is also education for human community. The two cannot exist without each other. We must be ever more aware of the connections we have with other people and the rest of creation, and of the obligations we have to use our knowledge and power responsibly. In the end, it turns out that liberty is not about thinking or saying or doing whatever we want. It's about exercising our freedom in such a way as to make a difference in the world and to make a difference for more than just ourselves. And now I would like to invite the newest members of Phi Beta Kappa to please rise. On behalf of the entire Theta chapter of Minnesota, I would like to extend a heartfelt congratulations to each of you. It has been our joy as professors, administrators, and staff to accompany you in your learning. Leave here with our best wishes for your future and with our belief in you as champions of an education in the liberal arts. We know that you will continue to be the hope and strength of a new generation. We at Theta of Minnesota are so proud of you. We wish you the best, and we await with great eagerness to see and hear about all of the things that you will accomplish. As we process out, please let's have one last round of applause for the newest members of Phi Beta Kappa.